In a parallel universe, looking at the South African political environment, I can potentially see a situation where Vuyo Zungula, the president of the African Transformation Movement, becoming the president of South Africa. Now let me explain why I'm saying that. With the tensions between the economic freedom fighters and the Mkhonto weSizwe political party, Vuyo Zungula could potentially become the glue that puts the progressive caucus together. Now, if Jacob Zuma does not want to give an inch when it comes to Julius Sello Malema, and Julius Sello Malema continues to identify Jacob Zuma as the number one enemy of the EFF, then Vuyo Zungula could potentially put in a political strategy where he comes in the middle of the two and stops them from fighting and forces the two parties to elect him as the ultimate winner or the leader that can take the progressive caucus forward. And that is not a bad idea if you think about it. If you look at Vuyo Zungula's stature, he is loved by South Africans. Even though voted by a few, Vuyo Zungula is one of the most popular politicians in South Africa, coming from the small parties. So I can see a scenario where Jacob Zuma and Julius Sello Malema can sit down and say, okay, because we cannot come to an equilibrium, we cannot come to an agreement between the two of us, let's allow Vuyo Zungula to lead the Progressive Alliance only if we can come and put our votes together. Is that something that you will love, South Africans? Now you have requested a video on Vuyo Zungula, and today we are delivering. Let's talk about potentially the future president of South Africa, President Vuyo Zungula from the African Transformation Movement.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, Kagiso Hlongwane Zinchifa Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And this time around, we're speaking about a parallel universe or an alternative reality where Vuyo Zungula makes it as the president of South Africa. Thinking about it is not such a far-fetched idea if you think about properly. You know, sometimes things have to, let's say stars has to align for you to become the favorite, like David in the story of the Bible. Like some people have to fall out. Some people have to fight. Some people have to forget about you. Some people have to sideline you just only for you to be lifted up. It is a possibility, ladies and gentlemen. I spoke about Vuyo Zungula quite a few times in this channel, but this is the very first time I'm making a video personally and, outright about Vuyo Zungula. So I'm very honored to speak about him because I also love Vuyo Zungula. And what I love about him is that when I was busy with during the elections, talking to the ATM supporters, I wish I can find those clips, where I was talking to the ATM supporters, it sounded to me and it looked to me like the man commands a level of respect that other politicians don't have. There isn't any bad blood between the ATM members. There isn't any bad blood towards him, by the way. There isn't any bad blood from any political party towards Vuyo Zungula. He is a man that is respected when he comes into a room. He commands respect when he speaks. He's outright, he's straightforward. He doesn't mix around his words. When he speaks, you know where he stands. That is the type of leader that South Africa wants. Now, we as the Pan-Africanists, we want to see these black political parties coming together and uniting under one roof. That is a possibility, ladies and gentlemen. But what South Africans are always asking, if they come together, all of them, who will be the president? Will it be Jacob Zuma? Will it be Julius Malema? Will it be Panyaza Lissufi? Will it be Paul Mashatile? Will it be Julius Silo Malema? Who will be the president? And today I want to present to you guys that there is a possibility if Vuyo Zungula plays his political strategy and minds his steps, he can outsmart, not necessarily outsmart, but he can outmaneuver them to a point where he is the only sole option that makes sense for the Progressive Caucus to meet around. Let's start by covering the support of Vuyo Zungula and the NTM political party at the first anniversary celebration of Mkhonto Wesizwe. I mean, him being there and him giving a message of support tells us a lot about the type of leader he is.
Look, it's very difficult to conceptualize how Mkhonto keeps inspiring people. If one can look at how COPE did it, there were many people that joined COPE before the elections. After the elections, people were not joining COPE, but with MK, it is the other way around. Immediately after the elections, people are joining in numbers. So which clearly shows that it is beyond what people are saying. It cannot be true that it is a Zulu National Party. It cannot be true that it is only because of Mnamalala. There's something that is attracting people to MK. And ours as progressive parties, we believe that instead of competing or being jealous about the growth of MK, let's look beyond competition with us as a political parties. Let's look towards collaboration and cooperation so that we work together to improve the material conditions of the people.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you something. It takes one special leader to swallow his pride and acknowledge the growth of another political party. It takes a special leader to do that. And this is what South Africans are actually looking for. Vuyo Zungula is the type of man that South Africans see the president in. For him to say, listen, the MK political party is doing something extraordinary. They are growing beyond elections. He makes an example about the COPE party and says, listen, the MK is doing something that we have not seen in South African politics. Growing before the elections. We all saw the speed of which the MK political party was growing after that announcement of the 16th December. And then from there, we thought maybe the gravy train will stop. The momentum would somehow shut down. Vuyo Zungula says after the elections, those people were growing, and it is undeniable. We saw leaders leaving other political parties and coming there. He went there and gave his speech of support, and the main thing he was saying of Vuyo Zungula was that we as the Progressive Caucus need to stick together. We as Africans need to come to a point where we look beyond the competition. Just imagine, because politics is all about that. It's about competition. It's about who can get more votes than compared to your party, how you can outmaneuver other people, how you can fight with a better strategy to win other people's, voters and everything. But Vuyo Zungula says, no, we as South Africans, we as the Progressive Caucus, in fact, we need to look beyond that. If that does not tell you just how special Vuyo Zungula, then you will never see it. And I want to see all the support for Vuyo Zungula on the comment section. Tell me if you agree, if there was an option where all of these parties were put together and there was Julius Silo Malema, there was Jacob Zuma, there was Fadel Abrams of the National Colored Congress, and there was Vuyo Zungula. Who would you choose to lead the Progressive Caucus? Who would you choose? Because we're going to find it difficult because of this self-hate that we have as Africans for EFF voters to vote for Jacob Zuma, or for the MK people to vote for Julius Silo Malema. The sickness of us Africans fighting each other is real. But Vuyo Zungula has somehow breach the gap between the love and hate of other political parties. And another thing that stand out that made me even like Vuyo Zungula even more. I love Julius Malema anyway. That made me love Vuyo Zungula even more was seeing him fighting for Busisiwe Mkhwebane.
It is a motion that has been brought by the DA to say Advocate Mkhwebane is not fit for office. But if you look at the testimonies and the evidence that have been presented, it paints a different picture. Particularly if you look at the other information that has been coming up recently, the recent extortion claims of 3 ANC MPs against the public protector to say, give us a certain amount of money so that we give you a fair trial. That on its own should warrant even the speaker to intervene. Any person would say these are serious allegations because they dent the image and the credibility of the process. And the fact that this is also the backdrop of the suspension of Advocate Mkhwebane being declared unlawful. It's been more than 6 or 7 months now after that court order that was declaring that it is unlawful, but it has not been reversed. Therefore, it is our view as the ATM that the inquiry can still happen, but she must not be suspended. She must be in office and let her do the work that the Constitution requires of her, because firstly, the conduct of the chairperson and the evidence that is there clearly shows that there is nothing wrong with the capabilities of Advocate Mkhwebane. And the most important issue, it is a court order that is saying that the president acted unlawfully by suspending her. In terms of that particular court order, it means that the president acted in a way that should not be tolerated in our country by removing a person that was investigating him. So, based on that, Butabo, she should be in office and let the inquiry operate kakuhle, but not her being disadvantaged by being removed from office via an unlawful suspension.
In Parliament, Vuyo Zungula having only one seat from his political party, at times in the sixth administration, the fifth administration, you saw him on a limited time. So when he came to speak, his minutes were limited and he had to make an impact. And damn, did the man make an impact. When Vuyo Zungula spoke in Parliament, he sounded like he was from the official opposition or the ruling party with the authority that the man was speaking up on. And when I saw him fight for Busisiwe Mkhwebane, I was asking myself, what does he gain for protecting Busisiwe Mkhwebane? He is a man that is after justice and fairness, transparency and accountability. And Vuyo Zungula stood up for Busisiwe Mkhwebane to a point where he won people's hearts. When you heard him speak about Busisiwe Mkhwebane, you would think Busisiwe Mkhwebane is from his political party. Equally so, look at how Vuyo Zungula fought when it comes to the issue of Phala. Even now, the EFF is teaming up with him and they are taking this Phala issue back to the courts, back to Parliament. It's because of Vuyo Zungula. He is not sleeping on this matter. And that is what South Africans want to see. I dare repeat again to say this man is the glue between the EFF and the MK political party. Go in the comment section, maybe I'm tolerator or maybe uzongitola later. But what I'm saying to you guys is that let's celebrate African excellence when we see it. I'm at a point. You guys know how much I love Jacob Zuma. I don't hide it. I don't hide that I believe that Jacob Zuma was the best president from the 4 presidents that we had. Nelson Mandela, Thabo Mbeki, Cyril Ramaphosa. Don't count Kgalema Mtlanti. He was there for a short period. For me, Jacob Zuma was the best president between those 4. And you guys know how I feel about Julius Malema. The breath of the fresh breath of new air into the politics, the political party of our lifetime, the political party that came with the slogan economic freedom in our lifetime. The economic freedom fighters fighting from the beginning, attacking Jacob Zuma, attacking corruption, fighting, from 1 year old to fees must fall up to now. I mean, how can you hate on the EFF and the work that they have done so far? So I love it. But I'm telling you, if we had a choice to choose between the three, Julius Malema, Vuyo Zungula, and Jacob Zuma, other people will find it difficult not to vote for Vuyo Zungula because the man is upright. If you can allow me to take you back when he was fighting Phil Creed about this thing of Western Cape independence, do you guys still remember what he said there?
Let's start with this individual, Philip Craig. Firstly, he is a British national who came to South Africa 20 years ago and then subsequently got the citizenship of South Africa. Now, it needs to be emphasized that his citizenship, his South African citizenship, is a privilege. And because it is a privilege, he has to submit himself towards the ideals of South Africa, the values of South Africa, and in fact, entrench himself in the values of South Africa, not divide South Africa or preach a message that is sowing divisions in our country. His utterances that, firstly, there needs to be a cessation of the Western Cape to create an independent country in the Western Cape, that on its own is sowing divisions in our country. And because of him being a foreigner, being someone who was privileged to get South African citizenship, it is not something that should be taken lightly, because we need to send a very strong message as a country that if you are ever given a privilege as a foreigner to have a South African citizenship, you need to abide by the values of South Africa. Never do something that is against the spirit of our constitution or the spirit of what we want to achieve in our country, as you rightfully say, that it is a unitary state, because we believe that there needs to be one South Africa, and we can't be having even apartheid towns such as your Kleinfontein or Orania. So this call that he's been making goes against the privilege that he received by giving South African citizenship.
You know this statement that Vuyo Zungula is saying that Phil Creed must know that it is a privilege for him to be in South Africa and he must follow South African rules. That does not only go for Phil Creed. It goes for all these Dutch people, all these European people that are in our country. It goes for them, I'm telling you. Because they think they are at home now. The way they speak to us, the way they treat us, the way they behave around us, they have forgotten that they are not home. And some of them are just second generation or even first generation, like Abu Helen Zil. You would think that their great parents are from South Africa. No, they are first generation in South Africa. And they have the audacity to treat us like a low-class citizen. Now, having people like Abu Phil, for me, wanting to isolate the Western Cape, and you look at the anger of African people, and you ask yourself, Kanditina, what makes South Africans angry? And there I go again into the deep waters of Nigeria. I said, the focus we give to Chidima compared to a focus of a guy that says Western Cape must be independent from the rest of South Africa is different. You can argue all you want on the comment section. You guys know, or if you're on social media, you know the type of energy that we give to our African brothers compared to 95 Libyans found in a army training in Mpumalanga. You guys know the difference that we do. There was an AfriForum chairperson, former chairperson of Limpopo of AfriForum, that was found with a drug lab at the farm. You guys know that South Africans only spoke about it 2 days and left it alone. Even today, if I ask you, did that guy get arrested? When was the case postponed to? You don't know. But if I ask you what position did Chidima get, what was the prices, all of those things. I'm sorry to speak about that, but I'm just saying If those type of things don't anger us as South Africans, what is our issue actually? You know, so Vuyo Zungula is a man that stands up for South Africans and stands up for no nonsense. You remember the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape, they are intertwined together. So there's a lot of migration from one province to another. So the Xhosa people in Western Cape and the Xhosa people and the colored people, there's always this, tension between the two. But also, there's a clip of the newsroom reporter who asked Vuyo Zungula there at the anniversary of the Umkhonto weSizwe party, does he think that Jacob Zuma is jealous of the growth of the MK political party? And this is how he answered.
Not at all, not at all. I don't think he's jealous. I think he's doing a very good job when it comes to EFF. The fact that they hosted a very successful third NPA, which was without fights. You know, when you go to conferences of these parties, there's going to be fights, there's going to be splits, but theirs was pretty successful, which clearly shows that EFF is stronger, EFF is growing, EFF...
Some would say actually it was a predetermined outcome.
No, it's an election. There were people that were nominated and there were people that accepted the nomination. When people decide not to nominate other people and there's no contestation, it does not take away the fact that it was an elective conference whereby there were nominations and people, and the leadership that they have now is the leadership that they've elected.
Mr. Zungula, are you concerned about the state of the Progressive Caucus, both in Parliament and outside, in particular when you look at how, EFF leader Julius Malema has declared the MK party an enemy, whereas, there's been lots of talk, or school of thought that believes that should not actually be the case?
Look, there'll always be differences, there'll always be hiccups, there's always going to be such challenges whenever you are going to be building such a movement of uniting people. At a basic level, you'll have a husband and a wife, they'll have differences. Even at a party level, even the ATM will have challenges. Now, if you look at 5 different political parties in the Progressive Caucus, there's bound to be challenges there. But what is important is for us not to dwell in the challenges and it ends there.
Let me start by speaking to the fighters, and this is not a fighters video. I'm just addressing it because Vuyo Zungula also says it here that there will always be differences even amongst households between husband and wives. If there are household differences at the basic level, how much more should we expect that there should be differences on a political level, especially different type of political parties? You bring 4 or 5 different political parties together, they're bound to be tension. Some of us actually operate much better under tension and under pressure. Conflict makes us shine even more. We are not scared of conflict. We come to predict that the conflict is going to come, you understand? But you have people that think that because me and you have a different view on a particular subject, it means me and you are enemies. And African people, it breaks my heart because the same energy is not given to the Democratic Alliance. The same energy is not given to the Freedom Front Plus. The same energy is not given to AfriForum. The same energy is not given to the Solidarity movement. The same energy is not given to the Dutch, the Europeans, the Chinese, the whatever. But the way we treat each other as Africans, because we see each other as differences. Me and you, we know that white media has stolen all the news channel. We know that. Singling out one lady from newsroom and trying to make it as if she's been planted to bomb the EFF and everything, it shows weak political mindset. That's why I say, if your members can be easily convinced to join other party, who has the superior reasoning, superior logic in engagement of convincing other people to move from one party to another? It's when you have an inferior type of personality that you fear other people. But when you are settled, nobody can tell you anything. This lady cannot shake the EFF, according to me. She can say what she wants in the internet. She can say whatever she wants and report however she wants. But for me, the EFF is too much of a big political party and is too much focused on, should be focused on growing itself than focusing on mere one reporter from newsroom. Listen to how SABC speaks about the EFF. Listen about how ENCA speaks on the EFF. You want to focus on this one? No, man. So for me, Vuyo Zungula, going back because this video is about Zungula. Vuyo Zungula congratulating the EFF, even protecting this thing of us saying, listen, the people were selected, not elected. He says, listen, it was a conference. People did not nominate other people, so we cannot speak on that. If they were brave enough to nominate, then we'll talk. Me and you, when we analyze, we can say this thing started on Twitter. That was the first time we saw Godrich Kadi's name and all those things. But Vuyo Zungula says in the conference, everyone had an opportunity to elect whoever they wanted to elect, and they didn't. So the top six, were selected or elected unopposed. And he's congratulating Julius Silo Malema for operating a great political party. And he says the man is doing a good movement. That type of leadership quality for me speaks a lot. He does not see the EFF as a threat, and he should. He does not see the MK as a threat, and he should, because it's a small political party. He should be aiming to grow, but he does not see them. He sees the power in the little party that he has that shakes all of these parties. Look, now we're making a video just about him alone, Vuyo Zungula. So the question then we ask, is, would you vote? And I'll put a poll on this and let me see what you say. If the Progressive Caucus come together, Jacob Zuma and Julius Silo Malema not reaching they're not reaching an equilibrium, not reaching a place of compromise, would you vote for Vuyo Zungula to lead the Progressive Caucus? I'm talking about 2029 and him being a president. Would you want Vuyo Zungula to be a president of South Africa before Julius Silo Malema? I'm asking you, the fighter. I'm saying in a scenario where the MK is saying, if it's if it's Julius Malema, we are out. And the EFF is saying, if it's Jacob Zuma, we are out. But Vuyo Zungula says, okay, I'm here. If you guys cannot come to an agreement, can I, be the interim leader for now? And so that we can win these elections and take power from the ANC and the Democratic Alliance. What are you guys saying? Would you vote for Vuyo Zungula? I'm quite interested to hear how are you guys going to maneuver this one. And specifically, I'm speaking to my fighters, I'm speaking to my soldiers, my commanders in the MK. I want to hear what you guys are saying. What are you saying? So we're having Vuyo Zungula, we're having Julius Silo Malema, and we're having Jacob Zuma. And these two don't want to talk to each other, don't want the other one to win over the other one. Would you vote for Vuyo Zungula? Is that what you South Africans are saying? And that is what I'm saying when I say in a parallel universe, in another world where politics are played properly and for, the stars align properly for Vuyo Zungula, potentially, the man can be the president of South Africa. You understand what I'm saying? So let me end there. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in on a holiday. You guys have got so much to do. You've got family to look after, and you just tuned in. And I would ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, remember that we are building a movement. The movement is PASETA, the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. We are saying we are going to infiltrate the educational system like never before. Once this movement is established, there will not be a school in South Africa that is better than Paseta. There will not be a school better, technologically advanced than Paseta. On the sports field, the teachers, the technology in the classroom, the amount of work that we are going to put for the coming generation will be unmatched by any other school in South Africa. Anyway, that will be very easy to beat because the standard in South Africa is so low. The Department of Education even calls the education they give to our children basic education. Imagine. So if you are someone who says, King, I want to contribute, I want to do something for the next generation, please make sure that you send your donation to Paseta. Our account is a Capitec business account. Make sure you put in the correct branch code and the account number and send your contribution. We're not asking for much, just 50 Rand if you can in this December, and send it to us so that we can prepare. Remember, we are having the main fundraising event on the 2nd and the 3rd of May in 2025. So we are inviting you to Kimberley to come and sit with us, dine with us. We'll be having the gala dinner on Friday and the fundraising event on Saturday, where we'll be taking people to the site where we are building the school, busy building the school. So thank you so much for everyone who has shown support, for the encouragement and everything. All I'm saying is that if the politics world, somewhere, somehow fails us, at least we as the community must have done something for the coming generation. And I know most of you agree with what I'm saying. It cannot be that we watch the African community build and Tina Shleli Pela. Say a complainer. Because Tina, Black South Africans, we have all our hope in politics. Forgetting that this political system anyway was formed and developed in a way that it works against the poorest of the poorest. If you know what I'm saying, you can type amen on the comment section. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace and Pan-Africanism. I salute you.